We are back. This is Brent Daniels, and welcome back to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the world's #1 podcast when it comes to wholesaling real estate. Every week, Tom Kroll, Cody Hoffine, and myself work to bring you the absolute best in interviews and thoughts so that you can accomplish one goal, and that is to have the instruction that you need to go out and source the absolute best real estate opportunities in the marketplace. Which leads me to our guest today. This guy has had some phenomenal, really challenging times when he started the business. He left a very secure job to go after his real estate ambitions, and I'll let him tell you all about it because it is just a fantastic story. You're going to be so inspired by this story, and you're going to understand that once you get going in this business, you can change your financial future. From Baltimore, Maryland, it is Jemai Nacombe. Say hello, Jemai.
What's going on, Brent? TTP, baby, let's do it.
TTP, I love it. So Jemai, I introduced you, and this is something that you had posted to the TTP group, and you were going through a lot of different things at the time, but you had essentially a very comfortable financial position with with a very secure job. Is that right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just a quick background on my story. I did everything that, everyone tells you to do is go to school, get a good job, and get a nice career, and ultimately attain the American dream. I went to college, graduated, studied accounting. Quick backdrop on that. I literally researched the 10 highest paying jobs and accounting popped up. So I said, hey, least amount of school, let's do it.
Yeah,
So yeah, I went with it, graduated, got a nice, great government paying job. It was, great salary. Started off in the 50s, but in the government, it's basically an incremental promotion each year. You get a $10,000 pay raise. It's pretty much guaranteed. You really have to really be I don't want to curse on here, but you really got to mess to not get the promotion.
Sure.
So yeah, fast forward a few years, and I slowly realized I really hated it. So I was trying to figure out my exit strategy within the first 2 to 3 years. I'm like, this is not for me. I got to find something else.
Got it. So it was just crushing you. So you were in the job 3 years. I mean, how far into this job? Because there's a lot of people listening to this that maybe have a full-time job or they've had a career for years and years and years. How far into this? You graduate, you get this job, you're excited, you're like, okay, my life's on the right path. How far into it were you like, oh no, this? Yeah, I get it. I'm comfortable and I'm secure, but I'm not happy.
Yeah, so I guess just to give you a timeline, so I graduated college in 2012. When I first got out, it was a little bit rough. I didn't get the government job right away. I had to work my way up, so to speak, and get some actual experience. So I worked at a small accounting firm for 2 years. It was cool. It wasn't really stressful per se. But then after I got, the experience for 2 years, I got the government job in 2014. So from 2014 to 2017, I was at a nice job, increasing my grades every year. Started off as a GS9, what they call it, making about 57,000, and then I got promoted all the way to GS12. I was making, I think, 87 when I left. So I transferred. So I was like, yeah, man, this job is brutal. I'm working from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. It was tough. So I said, maybe let me just try another agency. Maybe something else might, have a different experience.
Sure.
And I moved from Baltimore all the way down to Arlington, Virginia. So the commute was treacherous, to say the least.
I bet.
So yeah, I did that from like 2017 to 2019, and at that point, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely not the way to go. So yeah, basically, I ended up just leaving April 2018 of
Wow.
last. So yeah.
So over a year, and what did you do to, had real estate always been kind of in your mind? I mean, why not do, some other business, or, drop shipping, or Bitcoin, or, all these other things that, people are
Right.
kind of, you know what I mean? Why real estate?
Definitely get it. The thing that the reason why I gravitated towards real estate was because in college, I actually took this class called entrepreneurial something. It was an entrepreneurship class, and the professor was amazing. Very independent study, and the first book she gave us to read was called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that completely changed my mindset. Oh
Sure.
my God,
Yeah.
about having a job and paying yourself first, and real estate was the key. But I was so I don't want to say I was so young, but I guess my mindset wasn't there for me to really like fully dive in and commit to just trying to figure out real estate per se. It's so big, like there's
Yeah.
so much different niches.
Yep.
So fast forward, I seen this guy on I think I used to browse
Mm-hmm.
WorldStarHipHop.com back in the day, and this guy named Mark Witten. He's a local Baltimore wholesaling guy, and he had an infomercial on there. Hey, you want to make money in real estate with no money down? And again, my mindset is so like closed, scarcity. I just couldn't grasp the concept. Like, is this guy really true, or is he trying to pitch me something?
Right. Right.
So, again, fast forward a few years later, ended up listening to a Bigger Pockets podcast, and the guy Tom Kroll, a legend, gave step-by-step instructions on how to get started, and from there, I just took off and kept it going.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I had originally heard Tom Kroll's interview with his brother Todd Toback when he was doing his 90 Days to Greatness, where literally
Yeah,
Tom was broke, and his brother pulled him on video on YouTube and on his podcast and was like, "You got 90 days left of money, like this is go time." And it was like the best, like step by step, like do exactly this instruction that I'd heard, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so incredible!" And now we fast forward, and now I'm a part of the obviously a host on this show. I have you. I get to interview amazing people. I mean, it's just incredible. This business is absolutely incredible, especially once you start going, because you start when you did your first deal. Right, it wasn't life changing. Right, it wasn't like you're
definitely.
retiring, for to greener pastures and going to sit on a beach somewhere, right? So like talk
Yeah.
to us about, you listen to this interview with Tom Kroll, and then what happens?
Yeah, so once I got off the interview, he gave us step-by-step instructions. I went directly to list source. I pulled the absentee owners list. I didn't really like filter it out the most best way, but I just took, as you would say, massive imperfect action, and I
Yep.
just went for it. And I actually mailed postcards the first
Mm-hmm.
time around. Um, Long story short, didn't really get the solid response. I probably got like a handful of calls,
Yeah.
but never really amounted to nothing. But it gave me the experience and confidence to talk to people, and I actually went out on an appointment. But fast forward, I ended up using that same list, and once I got into Wholesaling Inc. in a podcast, I got into your episodes, and you were talking about cold calling. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, let me take this list and cold call it. So I ended up doing that, and lo and behold, I found an elderly guy. He had already a duplex unit in Baltimore, 2 units, and he wanted to get rid of it. He was just aging. So that's when, I went out there, went on an appointment, and yeah, man, he showed me the house. It was actually in pretty good condition. He had new furnaces, new water heaters. It really didn't need any work,
Yeah.
but he just wanted to really get rid of it. It seemed like the tenants were not the nicest people. And on top of that, yeah, he was really getting elderly, so he really just wanted to get rid of it.
Sure.
Um, so I got in there, locked it up at 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't really know what I was doing, but I did have a little negotiation tactic. So I scheduled an inspection with my brother, who's an HVAC tech,
Yeah.
and he came in with me the following week. We took a look at it, did our inspection, and I ended up getting a price reduction for 55.
Nice.
Um, but at that time, I didn't have no buyers,
Mm-hmm.
so I actually reached out to, I believe she was a guest on one of your podcasts. She's a local girl. I believe her name was Nana.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I
Yeah.
reached out to her. We JV'd. She brought the buyer in, and I think we made like $8,000 on that first deal.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Well, and that's good. I mean, I always encourage when you're starting out and you don't have, right, that buyer base, then you don't know if it's a true deal or not a deal and how big of a deal it is. And because of that, I always encourage you to joint venture with somebody. Reach out to somebody that has the experience that at least is going to give you the peace of mind to know, yes, you've got something good here, and here I've got the perfect buyer for it, or we'll partner and I'll blast it out. Make something on it just so that you
Yeah,
understand the whole process and closing it and getting through it and actually getting your first checks, but also keep building up that buyer base, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like wholesaling is so niche. Like, I'm grateful to even find the Wholesaling Inc. group on
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah.
podcast, just having this community. Because, like you said, when you're first starting, you don't really know what the deal is. So she was definitely a great deal of help to really come in, nurture the situation, and really get this thing to close. And I'm like forever grateful to her.
That is
So.
awesome. So what do you do? How is your buyer base now? Because we're going to be talking about some
So
of these deals you're doing now. So how is it now? Are you still partnering with people? Are you still building it? Talk to us.
So yeah, my buyer base is pretty strong. I actually took your advice, which is to find a local wholesaler in your, community or in your market and trade list up.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm at like I think it's 1,300 buyers,
Nice.
and it's a mix of agents as well. So I definitely have, I think, a pretty consistent buyers list. So I haven't really JV'd recently, but I mean, I'm still open to it. You never know.
Yeah.
So,
So what Jemai's talking about is you build up your cash buyer database to maybe 200, 300, 400 people, whether that's getting agents off of Zillow that are doing flips or driving around and seeing people that are, you see a dumpster in the front of the house. Obviously, there's a renovation. You go in and talk to them. You talk to builders. You talk to, just you go down to the foreclosure auctions and you talk to those buyers. I mean, you build your cash buyer database to 100, 200, 300, and then you find somebody that has a similar size and you trade with them and then keep trading up, trading up, trading up, and then all of a sudden you have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and you're rocking and rolling because the more robust and healthy and fresh your cash buyer database is, the more you're going to make. It's an absolute fact. The more you're going to make. Don't be, as Tom Crow would say, a CBE, right? A cash buyer employee, right? Don't just sell it to the same person over and over and over and over again. Trust me, I did that for like a year and a half, and I was making like 12,000 per deal, and now we're at 27,000 per deal. So it's a big difference. It's a big, big,
oh
big
yeah,
difference. So
yeah.
let's talk about you had just posted to the TTP private Facebook page a nice healthy check. Like you were getting close. Like the funds in your account were whittling down. I mean, you were throwing everything that you had at this wholesaling business, and then finally push, push, push. You finally broke through. Let's talk about that.
Oh man, so yeah, that check was actually from driving for dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they always say that that's the biggest deals, but I mean at the time I didn't know. I was just following instructions. I'm
Yep.
just gonna drive for dollars, look for the worst houses on the block, which I did, and this one happened to be a fire damaged property.
Love it.
So went home. I wrote it down. I didn't even have the Deal Machine app yet. I wrote it down. Went to batchskiptracing.com. got the phone numbers, and I called them. I think I called them on a Sunday, and I got him, and we had a great conversation. He told me that he had the home for 35 years.
Mm.
He raised his kids in it.
Yep.
Everyone's grown now, and he actually already had the insurance money already. So, I mean, if he was able to sell it, he was great with it. So I was like, okay, great. So fast forward, we were able to set up an appointment. I go out there, and oh my God, I mean, it looked bad from the outside, but on the inside, everything was just charred, like still.
Yeah, sure.
The suit, oh man, it was ridiculous.
Now, is this a brick
So
home? Is this a wood frame home? What type of home is this?
it's a brick home,
Yep.
but I believe like the beams and the studs still had
Yep.
wood built. But yeah, everything needed to be replaced, definitely. Um, so we walked through it, and we look into one of his closets, and he actually pulls out the what's the just skip my mind, the that board game that Robert Kiyosaki made.
Yeah, the cash flow.
Cashflow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He pulled it out. He was like, "Yeah, man, this is like the most valuable thing I have in this house." I'm like, "Really?" So yeah, we actually got building report again, talking about real estate. Like, come to find out, he was actually a bird dogger. So I'm
Mm.
like, okay, like yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I go out and find properties for other buyers. So again, I was completely transparent with him,
Mm-hmm.
and built rapport. And long story short, we ended up agreeing for 35,000. Um, at that time, no, my buyers list, I sent it out. I sent it out at 59,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, hey, maybe I should get something,
Yeah.
and nobody responded. So obviously, I didn't give up. I just continued to rhino on and charge forward. And what I did was, it's a hot investor area, so I looked at all the new flips and see
Mm-hmm.
who owned. And it was like I pulled like 10 LLCs. Somehow was able to Google, skip trace some fine numbers,
Yep.
and I set up an open house. And out of 10 people, six came, and we got an offer for like 60,000. So of course I just jumped on it and moved forward with it, and we were good to go.
Now, did
Um,
you? So just let's pull this back just a little bit for people that aren't familiar. So, if you're looking, if there's LLC, if a property is owned by an LLC, typically what you have to do is you have to Google it, and you have to try to find the managing member or somebody that's the owner of that property. Typically, it is on your local or your state corporation commission website. And what's pretty awesome is, when you record or when you start a business, you have to record your articles of organization. You have to record some other things, just depending on which state you're in. And so it'll have the information and sometimes the address for the owners of that LLC, which is great because then you go in, you put it into batchskiptracing.com, use TTP as a discount code, don't forget that. But you get the information, and then what you called them, is that right?
oh yeah,
You just picked up
absolutely.
the
I
phone.
called all the buyers,
What'd you tell them?
absolutely.
What'd you tell them?
I was like, hey, I just picked up this smoking hot deal. It's right in your niche. I see you just renovated a single family home. This one is similar square footage. It looks like something that you can definitely flip. And he was open to it.
And you got
So I
6 out of 10 there.
yeah, yeah. So I actually set up the open house based on his time frame. He
Mm-hmm.
said he could do it like Monday at 3. All the buyers, I told them, hey, open house is Monday at 3. It was kind of a weird time, but
Sure.
that's how committed they were, because they ended up coming out, during a weekday in the middle of the day, and
It's beautiful.
we got a lot of interest. So it definitely worked out that way.
Well, and I love it, and I love that you didn't just send it out and hope and pray that somebody bought it and somebody didn't buy it, and then you took it to the next step, which is pick up the phone, call the people around that area that are doing flips in that know that area, that like that area, that probably live around that area, right? All of these
Right.
things are really, really important, but you got to take that extra step. Don't let just getting no response from like an email blast or a text blast or something stop you from reaching out to the specific buyers in that area, because they might have even gotten that email blast. They might have even gotten, but they just didn't
That is
open it at the time, or they were doing something, or they get a ton of emails all the time. I'm telling you, in this market right now, if you're having trouble selling your properties, you got to pick up the phone and you got to call them. Not even texts anymore. People are getting too many mass texts now. People are getting voicemails now. You got to pick up the phone. You got to call them and get them on the phone. It is so powerful. I love that you said that. I love that you mentioned that, because that's something that I did want to talk about on this podcast. That's huge.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Man, it is huge because at the end of the day, like that's what this business is about, talking to people.
Talking to
So
people.
just got to
Yep.
have a proactive mindset. And, and any sort of adversity comes to your way, you really got to figure it out and just get on the phone and, you know,
And
make some things happen.
and you sold it for 60. And another interesting thing is, when you're going after these properties that are fire damaged, most of the time they've already got their insurance check. They've already moved on with the thing. This is kind of like bonus money. Like this is they want to get something out of the lot, obviously, but it's more like they're kind of selling land than they're selling the property, right?
Right.
It just depends. Just depends on how bad the fire damage is. But these people at that point are typically unemotional about it. They'll have a price, they'll give it to you, and if you can, and usually it makes sense, because they've already gotten a big check from the insurance company. They've paid off their debts. They've got money. They just want to pay this off. They just want to get this off their plate so that they can move on with their life, like it happened to you.
Yeah,
And what
absolutely.
did you net on this?
So yeah, after closing, because I did a double close, but I think we came out to 21,890, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, 21,000. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Woo! Let's do it.
I love it. I love it. So here's the deal. Like you were talking about, your first ones, you were kind of splitting 8,000. You had told me before we got on the podcast that you did one. It was like 1,000, and then you're pushing and you're trying to get those big checks, right? And once you get something that's over $20,000, now things are like, okay, now I've got some breathing room. Now I'm building it up. Now I've got some reserves. Like now you're feeling, and then I think, in my opinion, the people like you that are just growing their business, keeping their pipeline full. I mean, do you have the other check right there for everybody
Oh
watching?
yeah.
If you're listening to this, go to Brent Daniels Real Estate on YouTube, and you can check out first all the information that you need. But here's a check that he just got for 12,200. Hold on, pull it back a little bit. Keep pulling, pull back, pull back. It's still foggy. No, keep going. Pull it back. I don't know what it's zooming in on, but 12,000. Oh, there it is. $12,274. Boom.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. Look at that.
Yep.
And you've got other ones. You've got another one closing in a week, right?
Yeah, man. I got some things flowing. Well, due to some unforeseen circumstances with the city of Baltimore just had like a ransomware attack.
Okay.
So, yeah, like the whole city has been shut down for like the whole month of May.
Oh my
Some
gosh.
IT hackers went in and basically held the city for ransom. Of course, the city didn't pay it out. They chose to build up their own systems from scratch. So now, in terms of pulling lien certs and
Oh yeah.
bills and property taxes, everything is on a paper trail. So
Oh my
everything's
gosh.
all going back to courier. So yeah, everything has been slowed up. So month of May was horrible, but this month should hopefully make up for the previous month. So yeah, man, I got another one in the pipeline for like about 19,000.
Yep.
And, yeah, we got some other hot leads, but that one is the most recent one. So
Love it.
yeah, man.
And you are getting these from calling, from picking up the
Oh
phone.
yeah, 100%. TTP, baby. It's like
TTP. I love it.
the
So what lists are you calling right now? What's working for you?
So yeah, I'm using a very niche list. I'm actually going after Baltimore City's violation list,
Love it.
and if anyone in the Baltimore market or wants to invest in the market, it's actually publicly available. So there's a website. If you just Google it, search Baltimore City code violations. They, I guess it's by law, you have to publicly make it available. So I go in, I actually have a VA now
Mm-hmm.
that's able to go in and scrape the data and get the owner's name. And she pulls me fresh lists weekly. And once I get the list, I skip trace it and just get on Mojo and start calling, man.
Love it.
Yep.
And a VA stands for a virtual assistant. It's basically, an assistant that you would hire from. Typically, it's the Philippines. Is yours in the Philippines?
Yeah, she's in the Philippines. Yep.
How did you
Yep.
find her?
Oh, on Upwork.com.
Yeah.
Upwork.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Upwork.com makes it super, super easy to post for different assistants. And what Jemiah's talking about is he scrapes the list to pull the address and or the owner info from the code violations. What I suggest is if you're going to hire a virtual assistant, make a video of you doing these things or the things that you want them to do, and it's going to cut the learning curve like crazy. I use a thing on my computer called ScreenFlow. I think that you can even record from like Google Drive or something. I don't know. There's a bunch of different resources to record your screen, and then you can share it with your virtual assistant so that boom, they see what's going on, and then now they're doing that repetitive task that you don't want to be doing every day and or every week, and you're getting those leads, and you're getting through, and you're getting their phone number, you're picking up the phone, and you're taking action. When do you typically make your calls?
So yeah, I'm not the best at having the best schedule, but I strive to get them in early.
Okay.
I'll shoot for somewhere between 8 to 11, 9 to 12. I really want to be done for the first half of the day, so that way, I can really have the rest of the day to go on appointments. And also, too, I just hired a cold caller, so she tends to call in the evenings,
Yeah.
so from
Great.
3 to 7, around that time frame. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're really working it that way.
Yeah, it's great when you can start leveraging other people and their talents and their skills. And when you're doing other things, when you're doing lead follow up or you're selling the deals or you're on appointments, you have somebody that's constantly calling. That's how you start building and scaling and growing this business and
Yeah.
keeping it really, really, really lean because you don't have to have a huge budget to bring somebody on that's going to start rolling and keeping your pipeline really, really, really healthy, so that you're just it's constantly throwing off a deal, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 deals a month, whatever it is, and life gets really exciting at that point for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hopefully, I hope to scale, one person at a time.
you
I don't
got
want to get
it.
too.
Yep. Yeah, you
Just need-
will. Especially with the big checks that you're getting. I mean, you got 19, you got 21, you got 12, you got, all these, they just add up, add up, add up, add up. You keep your costs really, really tight. Watch that bank account all the time. Don't think because you get these big checks that you can go out, that you want to go out and spend it all and be crazy. Keep it really, really, really tight until you're building up, until you have whatever 3, 6 months in reserves for your operating and your living, and then you can start getting a little bit wild out there. But tell everybody how to get a hold of you. If they want to get a hold of you, if they want to network with you in Baltimore, if they want to be on your buyers list, if they just want to be, maybe meet up, talk, whatever, they gel with you on some level here. Maybe there's a poor accountant out there that is just sitting listening to this, and he's like, oh my gosh, this is my story. This guy seems so happy, and he's free, and he's doing real estate. Like, how should people get in touch with you? Do you have a
Yeah,
Instagram or
definitely.
something?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm horrible on social media,
Okay.
but the best way to really, really reach out to me is my email, charmcitypropertysolutions@gmail.com. Charmcitypropertysolutions@gmail.com. And, reach out to me. Feel free to ask me any questions. I learn from, the best, like Brent. I try to strive on being a go-giver as much as possible.
That's right.
Just really want to give as much as I can back to the community. So, absolutely.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing. I think there's a lot of people there that I think that I think there's a big turn, I think, going on with our generation and the younger generation. Just people are understanding that happiness matters, right? That we have options, that having the self-awareness that you can be happy and be an entrepreneur, and real estate is a great vehicle. Wholesaling real estate is the perfect vehicle for getting big checks so that you can fund whatever your passions are, truly are. If you want to be, some sort of real estate mogul and you own a lot of properties, or if you want to start another company or invest in companies or whatever. I mean, read Rich Dad Poor Dad. They talk about the different quadrants that you can get into, but
Right.
wholesaling is that bridge. Wholesaling is that bridge that can get you there and really get your income to a nice, healthy spot where you can start investing and having those options. So I think that it's great. Thank you so much. If you guys want to, on the YouTube channel, it's going to have all the spelling of Jemai's name and his contact info, and then also some resources that you can use there. And if you're ready to join the most proactive group, join us together in the TTP program. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, check out what the program's about. Go check out all the testimonials. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. Would love to work with you personally. Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much. You have been amazing. And I look forward to seeing you just explode your business in the future. It's gonna be incredible.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Brent. I appreciate the opportunity, man. This is like a dream come true for me. Like I always wanted to do it, but I never felt like I was really solidified or had enough credibility to come on. But
Sure.
since I've, this past few months have been like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I'm
Oh, you
here and
certainly
trying
do.
to expand and
You
grow.
certainly do, and you brought an incredible value. So everybody out there, listen, you guys are amazing. Rhino on, progress not perfection, and I highly encourage you to go out today and talk to people. Till next time, see ya.